Hello, everybody. It's March 11th. You are watching or listening to And Whose Fault Is That? This is episode 20, titled Magic Apple. What does it mean? Only Phil can explain. Phil, how are you?
Good. How are you? How's your Monday? Today's Monday, right?
Yes.
Today's Monday.
Flew by, but that's because I worked this weekend and I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. Weekend work.
Yeah, I think, but because it's so saturated that my Monday feels like a Friday. Like it's a lot of like, I just walked 10 miles and took my shoes off and now my feet are going, but I'm relaxing kind of thing.
And you're like, you know what? This Monday's going to be light.
Productive.
Productive, but light. Yes.
And you?
So doing well. I am doing well. Yeah. Busy day, little piddly things here and there. My child discovered that a mouse had come and gone in her car, so we were dealing with that.
What?
No damage, thankfully. Yeah, no damage, thankfully. But we did find. Sorry, she's shouting at me at the other room that her phone cord, her Apple lightning cable was the one casualty of this situation.
The most important of all.
Yes, the most.
Yeah.
Not that we don't have like 19 of them in the house.
Yeah. A chapter in itself of this journey of. Is there any poop anywhere in the car or?
There in her center console where all the candy and stuff that the aforementioned mouse helped itself to.
Girl, you are just making this worse. Okay.
Yeah. So, so that got cleaned up, and then I'm like, okay, let's go to Home Depot, run there, get some. We're gonna go with let's go with the peppermint approach because it's like I don't know if I want to fill her car with poison, and also thought okay, I could put like those, like traps. Terrible idea. There's also those green like poisons that make them go search out water, but that means that there's just poison sitting in your car. Also not a fan of that concept. So I'm like, okay, let's do the peppermint. So she got some of those little peppermint pouches. They're under her seats. And then I sprayed the underside of the car with peppermint spray. I don't expect that to last forever, but we'll go with, that and clearing all the food out of the car. Probably big pluses.
So fun fact, if you want to also repel Nixie, you also give her peppermint because that is poison for me too. So all around anything.
Much like a mouse, I also dislike peppermint.
I will take the cheese, but no, cheese and candy. Oh, you know what? It's funny because I'm born in 1984, which makes it the year of the rat in the Chinese calendar. So maybe this is starting to make sense.
All those things, but the peppermint thing we kind of learned. So down at the summer house, one thing is that everyone always dumps like mothballs around their property to keep them out. But believe me, some people overdo it with the mothballs, and it's like you come around the corner between the houses, and it's just like a baseball bat to the face.
Okay.
But what Heather had discovered was that you can buy like the peppermint oil spray in like 2-gallon jugs.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we close up for the season, we like go around and just douse all the siding along the bottom of the house with the peppermint oil spray. It's like, okay, this should last at least some of the time that we're gone. So,
okay, this is driving me nuts. I can hear you. I'm turning off my camera real quick.
Okay.
I have to intervene. So,
is there a dog situation?
It's not a dog situation. Sorry, my chair squeaks too. Why not? How entertaining, guys. Week over week, something always has got to be like, what? Okay, so you were talking to me about this mothball thing.
Yes.
And a picture of my mom with me when I was small fell off of where it was.
Yes.
And I was like, I need to text my mom right now because this thing happened. It has nothing to do with anything. And it's probably because the fan is spinning too hard. But now I have to message my mom because it will drive me absolutely insane. Has that ever happened to you where something has happened and it's made you think like you have like some sort of like cosmic obligation to contact someone in that moment?
Not in recent memory, but I wouldn't rule it out from happening in the past.
I'm legitimately just being like, hi, Ma, love you. And that's it. I have to.
That's it. Yeah. You're like, this needs to happen.
It needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Right now. Yeah. I don't know if you
Well,
guys
very
can see
nice.
it. It's me when I'm 2, and we were picking strawberries.
Oh,
So,
very cool.
yeah.
I think you've I feel like you've shown me that full photo before at some point.
But also, I look like my mom, so it could have been any photo where you could have been like, there's a
Oh yeah, you're
similarity
like,
here.
yeah, I'm like, who's this child? Is this the nephew?
It's Denise. No, it's the nephew. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so sorry about that. I caught it at the corner of
No,
my eye
minor.
and I was like, what? See, she replied, we're okay, guys. Nothing
Yeah,
happened.
we're
My
okay.
mom is okay.
She also didn't fall because the fan was going too.
I just fell. There was a big strong wind. I'm like, what? I'm going to Montreal right now. Don't move.
Yeah, don't move.
Stay where you are. Yeah.
So, and then actually briefly we can revisit. I think I was telling you earlier, and this is a brief out of context. Was like, Heather and I had a game night we spent over at one of her friends' house this past weekend. It was fun and entertaining, and I pulled my back out while I was sitting on a couch. It was all sorts of fun and things. But one of the things is her friend said, "There is no wine, there is no beer in this house, but I will make you any cocktail you want."
Okay.
And she was like, I mean, myself and her friend Jen's husband Michael both shrug and were like, I don't know what I want. Not like, I mean, I have some ideas, but I'm like still a very big newbie as to cocktails in general.
Okay.
Do you have a menu, Lori? And she's like, how about a smoked Negroni? And I was like, we're both like, that sounds lovely. Not sure what's in it. I would have to Google the recipe.
Okay.
But it was delicious. And she had this little contraption, kind of like this wooden lid, this 2-piece wooden lid that went on top of the glass.
To smoke?
And yes, so kind of like a tea strainer, but not really like deep enough to go in the water. So she put it and it only hovers like an inch down in the glass, and she filled it with a bunch of. I had my option of oak, apple, or cherry wood shavings.
Uh-huh.
And then I chose cherry, and then she lit it with a tiny little butane torch and put the cover on it until it filled the glass with smoke, and then handed it to me and was like, enjoy. And then she made Michael whatever, but it was delicious. I ended up drinking like 3 of them.
So the first time that I ever saw that was when we went to this place called Whiskey Cake, and Jake ordered an old fashioned. It's like his go-to. And they came with this contraption of smoke and wood and a little lid and lighting.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, so much dazzle, and razzle for your drink. And then, if I recall, he wasn't blown away by it. I think, and this is the weird thing, there is multiple of these locations in the area, but Alamo Draft House, where they have movies and food and all that jazz.
The miraculous, amazing Alamo Draft House that I'm so like jealous doesn't exist on that part of the country.
There is on your end of the country. Maybe not the Alamo Draft House, but there is a food movie.
Oh, movie
hybrid.
tavern.
Yeah, movie tavern.
Yeah.
I'm
but
sorry.
that's like saying
This
no,
episode
but that's
is
like
not sponsored by Movie Tavern.
no. But that's like saying, oh, I really had a great burger at Five Guys, and then what about the and like, oh,
Got you.
But that's the same as that's the same as White Castle, right? And it's like, no, it is not. Alamo Draft House is apparently amazing. I've been led to believe.
Fell in love with the old fashioned from Alamo Draft House. Like he fell in love.
Ooh, okay.
And then a freaking year later goes, holy crap, they put their recipe on their website. And I was like, okay. And then he, like a little schoolboy, put on his backpack and was like, I'm going to Specs to get things that I need to make my old fashioned. And he went walking and went to go, and he's like, I couldn't find any orange
like a
zest.
small Japanese child going to first grade. You gave him a backpack,
like
a little
the
flag,
anime.
and
the little thing. Yeah.
skipping down the
My
street.
mom wants orange zest. My mom wants orange peels. So he comes back with nearly everything aside from the orange peels, but I did find them on Amazon. So, but you're gonna have to tell me about this. What was it called?
A smoked Negroni.
Smoked Negroni. Was it What did it? God, I want to see what it tastes like, but that means nothing to me because I don't like
Yeah. So let's see here.
cocktails.
I know, and it's like, okay, so let me see, because I also have no idea. But as far as, okay, so it has Campari,
Okay.
vermouth,
Campari vermouth.
gin, dry gin,
Uh-huh.
ice, orange peel for garnish, and then of course cherry, oak, or hickory, or apple. So okay, so the
Cherry.
alcohol
Okay,
is
sorry.
basically,
So you get the flavor from just the
I guess you get it.
Campari, vermouth,
Yeah,
and gin. I
yeah,
legitimately can't think of a worse
equal parts.
combination. But you liked
Yeah,
it.
I again, and I have never drank. I don't think I've consciously ever drunk gin before in my life, and I had no idea. I was just like, fun cocktail, hand it over.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Might as
maybe
well
it was,
try. You don't know. You never had it before.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
so it yeah, but it was definitely very interesting.
Dope.
So
Okay.
I don't have like 2 out of 3 of these alcohols, but tonight, because I know we used to do it, I told you I had produced large ice cubes recently. Um, I've been leveraging ChatGPT, which is great for food recipes. I discovered where you just hurl what's in your fridge at it
Sure.
and say, "Tell me what to make."
Yes.
And it has in pinches where I've been like, okay, I have the following things. Give me some ideas, and it'll be like, ta-da! Um, I threw a bunch of alcohols I had in the house at it, and it was like, you can make a cherry old fashioned, and I'm like,
Okay.
go on.
Mm.
And it was like, okay, take that whiskey you have, pour it over, 2 ounces of it over ice, then go grab your bitters. Yep, pour a half an ounce of that, and then go get that cherry syrup you have and put a half ounce of that, and then throw one of the maraschino cherries you have in there.
Oh,
And I'm
that's
like,
very cherry.
okay. And it is very cherry, and it is very delicious, and it's very, not going to say very sweet, but it is appropriately sweet, and I can't taste the alcohol, which,
You
for
can't
better or for
taste the
worse,
alcohol?
nope, which could be a
Oh, that
very
is
bad
very
thing.
bad for me.
It is.
I think that's the
So
only thing
that's
that I think that really is the only thing gatekeeping my alcoholism, if it were to exist, is the fact that
you're like, I can't taste it.
I can't. Yeah, like it's really the only thing that is stopping me from becoming an alcoholic is the fact that I just don't like the taste of alcohols, and even owning bars and managing them, like this is obviously like we're talking. Holy crap! I'm old. 20 years ago, I I just always disliked it. It was always something fruity. I always liked to have some form of. I hated it straight. I hated it straight. The only thing I used to drink that was some mixture, right?
Yeah.
Was. Well, actually, that's not true. I still drink these things, but I have no desire to. But back then was liquid cocaine, if it was shots. And I don't know if you know what liquid cocaine is.
I do
But
not.
it is half Goldschlager and half Jägermeister.
Oh,
And it tastes
what?
like.
Why?
Why?
It
Wait,
tastes like
I
you're
will
drinking it
tell
at
you.
17.
I will tell you. It tastes like the Coca-Cola gummies from when I grew up. Those Coca-Cola gummy candies. It tastes exactly like Coca-Cola gummy candies. And when I tell you 5, you're not alive. 5, you're not alive. You're down. Like that's it. 5 shots, and I'm like, I'm already like,
where's Nixie? On the floor.
oh, she's outside pretending she has a saxophone. Like this just like, yeah. I remember that being one of those. Oh, you don't drink often, so you're gonna be on your ass after 2-3 shots.
Yeah.
But amaretto cranberry. Amaretto orange, but it has to be Di Saronno because I don't like other amarettos that taste like foot.
Yeah.
And usually like coconut, like a Malibu pineapple. Anything that's like you're gonna get diabetes if you do this way before you get alcoholism.
Yeah.
And I'm on board.
But on the one thing that Heather discovered recently was these I can't remember, she was at some party or I think it was an after work event, and they had the the rage now is those vodka like mixed seltzer little like canned
Cans,
things.
yeah.
And she had them before and didn't like them.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they had in the bucket that was available were ones from a different brand called Stateside. And I vividly remember this going over well because I get this text message at like 7 o'clock at night with a photo of a can going, "Make note of these. We need to buy some."
Okay then.
And so those when yeah, so those have come out, and like same thing where her take on that is like, these are great. I can't taste the alcohol. This will be bad.
Exactly. You know, she understands. She understands.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, that's the whole thing. I have a hard time. I have a hard time understanding why people. Well, I have a hard time accepting the fact that people will condition themselves to enjoy something they absolutely hated just so they can get trashed. But on the flip side of it, oh, it tastes yummy. I want some. So it's like, yeah.
But it's the same thing. Like I do not like or enjoy in any way, shape, or form like bitter beers. Like IPAs, I may as well be licking a tire.
Yeah.
But I tend to like wheat beers, like Hefeweizens and like those beers. And that's the problem, is that they are so smooth to me and so delicious that it's like, oh no, I could drink like 5 of these and it doesn't bother me, it doesn't bother my stomach, they just go down like water. But
yeah.
So but that has nothing to do with apples, so I should really get to why the title of the episode.
Oh yes, please.
So,
tell me about Magic Apple.
After 24 minutes of yammering about liquor.
We're not yammering, we're catching up.
Yeah, we are. But so I was listening to one of my podcasts, and they got on the topic of the Apple Vision Pro.
Oh God,
we're all aware of the Apple Vision Pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that one of the hosts had said was, if you are not aware, they are still currently doing free demos at the Apple Store. And I highly recommend that if you have any interest whatsoever, march your ass to an Apple Store while they're still doing demos and sit with an Apple genius for 30 minutes while they show you this thing. Do not buy it. Do not even think of buying it, but do the demo. And I, like a good boy, went home and did my homework and immediately booked a demo.
For when?
It was Friday.
Okay.
This past weekend, so 4 days ago, at 4:30, I marched myself to the Apple Store, and it was surreal and weird. Like, totally not what I expected. There's a person at work who got, I can't remember, maybe you were still working there. Do you remember when Robert brought his headset with his whole machine? Because it took like, he had to run a separate, like he had to bring his full computer with a video card, and you were strapped in with an HDMI cable. Well, he did. This may have been after your time.
Maybe, or
but
I just don't remember.
I don't know, whatever. I don't know what the first gen headset was.
Okay.
It was from whatever that, I think Meta bought them or whatever. But he, but back then it was, he had to bring his gaming machine. There was a 30-foot cord involved because it didn't have power. So it was like a 30-foot HDMI cable, and it had to have like a, NVIDIA 1090 XYZ video card with 97 gigawatts of RAM. And then on top of that, you had the hand controllers, and you had to set up the damn sensors in the room so it knew where you were.
Oh my God, this is
very involved, like
level.
First gen dinosaur level involved. And I remember putting that on, and I remember like he had that game where you could like fly around the universe and you could create planets, and it had a lot of like orbital math built in. It was fun. Like you could take the moon, like you could hover out in space like a god, and the moon would orbit the earth, and then you could increase the weight of the moon by like a million
start messing
tons
with gravity. Okay.
And all of a sudden the earth would turn into an egg, and then the moon would fling itself into Mars. Like, so it was fun. You could fly around the universe. So I did that. And I found that, but luckily, thank God, I didn't get dizzy because I was like, am I going to have, it's a weird equilibrium thing. But that's the last time I put on a headset that had any of that type of like VR, AR thing. So knowing that this like lets you see the outside world, I didn't know what to get. But the Apple kid goes through his spiel. I put it on. He has you go through all the motions because like you have to, the way you select things is you look at them. So you have to calibrate it. So it keeps giving you these circles of dots.
Okay,
And
and
you
you
have
to
to
like
focus your,
look and okay.
yeah. So you have to focus your eyes on that dot. And then the select motion is you tap your fingers together.
Okay.
And it has cameras facing down. And so I go through that. It's like a 5-minute setup. And then it also teaches you to do all that stuff. And then he's like, okay, we're going to look at images. And so you look at a picture, that's fine and boring. And like, I got to give it to them. Like, whoever designed these damn demos, like, no, they like tease you. It's like, oh, would you like a bump of cocaine? Okay. And then how about an eighth? And how about a kilo? Because it's just like, let's just get you really hooked
they
on
actually build up. Yeah, where you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a picture goes from, oh, a still picture to, oh, here is a panorama. Look, you can zoom around the panorama. It's 180 degrees around you. Isn't that great? Okay. Now let's go to the immersive video, the immersive image. And you hit the immersive image and it's 360 in all directions. And so you're just standing at a lake and you can turn your head in any direction and there's just stuff. And you're like, okay, this is wild.
Okay.
And then takes you out of that and goes, okay, well, let's watch a video. And you see a flat video. It's playing in a little box. And then it's like, okay, let's watch a 3D video. And then you're like, okay, now this is a religious experience. Because the 3D videos, which admittedly are done with, the iPhone 15 apparently can do this, like can do 3D video now, but they're not super good. And you can tell the difference. The second video they show you is done with the iPhone 15, and you can like tell the difference. The first video is done with like $10,000 cameras, and it's a birthday party. And the wild thing is you can look around the cake. So this video is recorded, and the cake is sitting like 1.5 feet in front of you, and you can tilt your head around it and see around the cake, which is just kind of bananas.
Right?
Yeah. So I'm like, I kind of stretch my neck and look down, and I'm like, I'm looking down at the cake. Like, what is happening here? And the people look like they're actually in depth. So super surreal.
Okay.
And then, and then it's just like, then we move up. It's like, okay, well, open up. They have the, you've actually, if you watch the demo that they put online when they announced it, they had this, it's Mount Hood. So you're at the top of a mountain next to a glacial lake, but it's animated. So this is like your wallpaper. And so, okay, the water moves, the birds chirp, you hear wind slightly rustling. And then it's like, what movie would you like to watch? I'll watch Mario. And you open up Mario, and Mario floats in front of you at, like 120-foot screen and right over the lake water. And you can watch a 10-minute clip of Mario. And it's just super bizarre.
Question about it.
Yes.
Because I
Please,
definitely want to go and book a demo. I had no idea that was even still feasible. So I would like to take advantage of that if it's available at my local Apple store.
Fruit
at my
store.
local orchard.
Your local fruit store.
The local orchard. Would you say that this is an experience that is akin to going to Disney, where you would enjoy it a couple of times, but there's no real practicality for it at the moment? Like, it's just over the top?
For version 1, this is mainly an entertainment device.
Okay.
So 2 things. So reflections, like that was great. They show me dinosaurs. It's really cool.
Yeah.
You can look down the dinosaur's throat. Super awesome. Don't get me wrong. Like it is definitely an experience that is far more interesting than, no, my bar is pretty low with the tethered to a, NVIDIA 1080p, but but it was still like it was seeing a glimpse into what this could potentially be. But number one, it is heavy. I understand that it's made out of like aluminum and
Really?
glass and stuff like that, but it rests like on your cheeks.
Oh no.
And they tell you, they're like, okay, yeah, it should rest on your cheeks. No, you should not feel anything else except the back of your head and your cheeks. Other podcasts that I've listened to have said that they have like when you buy it, it comes with not only like the wraparound strap around the back, but there's a version that you can get that comes in the box that you can instead use the one that kind of like goes over your head partially. And most people have reported that that is far more comfortable.
Yeah, because it
because
disperses
it takes
the
the
weight.
weight.
Yeah. Okay.
It disperses the weight. But having worn that for 30 minutes roughly, I cannot imagine wearing that for more than a couple hours now. Maybe again with the different headband and stuff like that, but it was far heavier than I expected.
Okay.
Plus, everyone said like, sure, you can surf the internet, you can read, but if you want to do a spreadsheet, it's not happening. I understand that it's available in like 10,000 apps from because it's supposed to have all the same apps as the iPad.
Yeah.
But I can't say that like one of my other podcasters had already reflected on this because he's a very heavy spreadsheet user and he bought one because for his work, but because he does Apple pundit stuff. But
what?
But he tried to use spreadsheets in it and was like, no way, it's not. You can't. The cells are too small. You can't read them.
You can't like zoom or pinch or freaking
zoom or pinch, but I don't know, like he has, and I have spreadsheets like this too, where no, I need to see like columns A through double Z at once.
Yeah, especially with the range that you have. You'd think you'd be able.
So,
no.
Which you can, but the resolution is not fine enough to actually be able to read those cells. So it's still very much like, did you want to watch a movie on an airplane? Absolutely. Do you want to like do a FaceTime with your family? Absolutely. Do you want to, but if anything, I thought this was really cool because it's I can't wait to see version like 3
or 4,
5, 7 of this. Like where you're going with this, if you can make it smaller, if you can make it glasses, if it doesn't need a battery.
Great.
Yeah. But that concept of, and I mean, I've joked about this in the past, like just that concept. And I know that there's probably people listening who are like, nope, no way, not me. But there is some, to me, attractiveness to the idea of having stuff hover in the world to augment what I'm seeing.
Oh, absolutely.
So like if I'm working on a recipe, if you can have that recipe floating up here and not interfere with like this thing, wearing it over your face, like it's very bulky. You're not cooking in this thing without cutting.
Would you wear contacts?
I'd learn to wear contacts.
Because that's one thing that I'm thinking, right? Mm-hmm. It's all ocular, so that is the smallest version it could possibly be. Until, of course, we enter the year 3000, the world is imploded, and the only thing left is rich people who put things in their, their freaking retinas or whatever the hell they do. Yeah. But
But there's,
I think that's really cool.
But so, I do encourage, have fun, use the Apple people to their full ability, and book a 30-minute appointment, go, and it's worth it just to see like, okay, we're like dabbling their feet, because like I said, I saw it with I won't revisit this thing probably till many versions in the future. It was like the Apple Watch. Like I got the Apple Watch, or I saw the Apple Watch come out and was like, meh, I don't see a use case. It took me up to the 7 to just finally be like, okay.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Just because I was like, I don't know. There was nothing I was interested in tracking and things like that. And I finally broke down and was like, all right, let me give this a shot. And hand to God, at this point, I don't see myself
not having one.
Like just from tracking whenever we like go on hikes and stuff, and you know, all the other.
Like it serves a purpose. There's a use for it now versus before you just configure. You can justify it. Mm-hmm. I still have the original Apple One watch, still functional, basically brand new. And I was using it because they had... So for the longest time, older gen watches wouldn't work with newer gen phones, which is obviously on purpose. But they managed to have first gen devices work on the like 12 and up. So I could
Okay.
pair the Apple One watch with my 14. It won't do
Okay.
anything. It'll just count
Yeah.
steps maybe, but there's nothing much to that device,
Yeah.
you know. But I I freak out when I leave my watch at home. I'm like, God damn it, I forgot it.
Yeah. But like, and but currently, like, whatever, the Ultra came out, and a couple friends got the Ultra too, and all that stuff. I don't, I don't see something. There has to be another tier. Like before I replace this thing, it's gonna have to do something more interesting than it does now. Like the what is it, the heartbeat sensor or whatever they
Yeah,
got
yeah.
sued for recently. Like, that's fine. I can live without that.
I still
But if
I
you
don't
come
even
back and
remember what that did. Yeah.
yeah, you make yourself smaller, thinner, make your battery run longer, make it whatever. Like we'll see. Um, Plus, I also have found that I cannot be trusted with my technology. Like I am a clumsy idiot,
Mm.
and um, this has like an outer case that I bought for it,
Mm.
and this is probably the ninth case. Like,
What?
and the reason is because, and it's one of the hard cases to like just with the hard plastic
Yeah, I
screen in
know.
the
This is
front.
the same thing I have on mine. Yeah.
Yeah. Problem is that when I'm walking around my kitchen,
Boom.
my wrist is at the same height as my counter, and I come
Mm-hmm.
around corners whacking into the damn screen.
I know. Why don't we have any control over our limbs? Like, I don't understand. I do that all the time. I hit the frame of the doors, I hit the counters, and it's like, what am I just walking around like the wacky inflatable tube man? Like, why? I have like what? I hate it. I hate it. The fact that you just said your wrist hits the counter, that's all I'm getting now.
Triggered.
Yeah. Because I do it all the time.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, no, this is I can't. So I basically have a running. It's in my recent purchases, and then every time I crack one, they come in 2 packs. So every time I crack one, I just order another pack. $9.
I got a
Bet
pack
it's
of
cheaper than a
three.
$300 watch.
I got a pack of 3. They kind of like beautify them. One's black,
Yeah.
one's pink, and one's leopard printed. And I have not cracked this one at all. Now that I mention it, it's definitely going to be cracked. No,
Well, the thing is, I don't even remember half the time. Like, I know that I've cracked it, but I remember what I was doing at Heather's. And then my watch buzzed, and I looked down, and there was just a giant crack down the middle. And I'm like, shit. And she's like, oh, did you crack your watch? I'm like, no, I just cracked another case, and I don't even remember where. It was fine when I left the house.
The only thing I don't like about these is, despite, obviously, if you want to, you can take a shower with the watch. You just have to put that little, water thing on it.
Yeah,
But
so it doesn't.
I
Yeah,
don't even
mostly
bother.
because
I
you
don't even bother
rip
unless I remember to remove the case off of it, or just leave the watch completely. Like, remove the watch and just leave it in another room where it's not fogging anything, because it will fog. And then I'm annoyed.
Oh, the
there's
case.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, because then there'll be like some water between the screen, and I'm like, no, not dealing with this.
Yeah, my thing is that I don't sleep with it on, even though I really would like the sleep data.
Don't you get the sleep data from your phone?
Not with the details, because it'll like track your respiration, your respiratory rate, and heart rate and stuff, which the phone knows when I went to sleep and when I woke up. But this tells like if you woke up in the middle of the night and didn't realize it. So, but again, like probably 1 out of every 10 times. I don't know. It's just like it. Yeah, I give it a break. I put it on the charger. Yeah,
I don't do it. I feel like I should, but I cannot fall asleep with what feels like a small VCR on my arm.
Yeah.
Like, no. The only time I will fall asleep with an electronic is when I fall asleep with the phone in my hand and it hits me in the fucking face because I fell asleep while I was trying to look at videos. That's the only time. But yeah. Oh, I'm definitely going to go to the Orchard and have them try to sell me.
Yeah, I would absolutely like it's what $3,500 or whatever it is, like absolutely not like a purchasable item right now unless you're planning on spending a lot of time on international flights where you want to watch movies in the silence of your own skull. But
it's just
actually that's the one cool thing, and you don't even notice it because it's so perfect. the strap has the speakers in it, and they're like directionally pointed at your ears, and it does a really good unobtrusive job of, oh, I can hear noises and they sound good, and I don't have to have AirPods in. You can have AirPods in, but
Oh man.
yeah. So it's kind of fun. Like I said, do not buy it, but it's definitely
Okay.
like a neat
Um,
a neat thing to see, and then anticipate a few years down the line where you're like, okay, this I can hang out and wear and enjoy, and I can actually do some stuff on it, because they're gonna take it somewhere. You can tell that.
I can tell you
So
right now, while I appreciate your warnings, I will definitely not be purchasing anything at that price, aside from tickets to go somewhere. So to me, you say $3,500, my brain instantly went Italy. So no, it's not.
yeah,
Gonna
you're
happen.
like, that's one ticket to Italy.
Well, I mean, it's the ticket to Italy and the accommodation. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, that's coolios. I got a little fluff here. I remember saying, haha, this is funny. I'll save it for the podcast right before we went live. No
Yeah,
idea what the hell I was thinking about.
no idea what you were thinking.
Zero
You're like,
idea what the hell I thought was funny. Yeah, zero.
oh, that's funny.
An update though on the truck
Yes.
for anybody that is new here. Went on a road trip. On the way back from the road trip, transmission blew on the 1500 Sierra at right outside of a gas station rest stop area. It's been in the shop
Great
ever
state
since.
of Virginia.
In Virginia.
Right? Virginia?
Yeah.
In the great state
Virginia.
of Virginia. No, near your house.
1900 miles away. Jake.
Not a convenient distance.
No, not at all. Jake left, dropped off the rental car, and is currently in a hotel. And I'm like, he's also going to take the time, like after an 8-hour drive on the way back, he's stopping to see a friend who's near like Rainbow City, Alabama, near that area.
Oh, very cool.
And
Always
it's on the way back,
like,
so might as well chill.
yeah, you're like,
and see someone.
may as well.
Which is gonna be great.
Hang.
So like, have fun and at least get
Yeah.
some rest. That's another place that he could probably like get more hours of sleep in.
Especially if you're driving alone.
He is alone, and I kind of like freaked out because I fell asleep, and then I woke up at 1, and then I gave him a call, and I said, please call me in 2 hours, and of course he didn't. And then I woke up at 6, like in a total panic, like, oh my god, he's in a swamp, I didn't call him, he crashed because of me, like, worst case scenario kind of things. Anyway, so the funny part was that I call him on Discord, and he's like, oh my god, he's like, I'm so happy. He's like, I get to change. I get to put like my sleep pants on, and there's like a box of pizza on the bed. He has the phone, I suppose, leaned up against the television, and so across I can just see, I'd say like 75% of the pizza box that's sitting on the bed.
Okay.
And he's putting on his sleep pants, and he's like, I can't wait. And he's at like a Holiday Inn Express. He's like, I can't wait. And I can hear side effects may include blah, blah, blah. So I know the TV's on. Like, he's pumped. I know this guy's going to eat like a whole pizza and pass the hell out. He goes and sit down. The whole frame of the bed breaks. And I just see the bed go whoop like that. I was like, what the hell? It just went completely like 45 degrees. And he just gets up and he's like, you could just see like exhaustion, confusion. A lot of like,
this is where I live now.
why? I was like, just call reception. I'm like, do you have another bed? Is this like a double bedroom? He's like, yeah. I was like, just sleep on the other bed. And then she comes in and she's like, oh, Cindy, yeah, the whole frame's messed up or whatever the hell it is. Like, I could see her because he still has the camera on.
Good Lord.
And I'm just like, she's like, we're going to give you 7,000 points, which is about the equivalent of like a free night stay, because this should never happen. This hotel is only 4 years old. Your bed should have never broke. And Jake is so passive and non-confrontational that he's just like, it's okay. It's no big deal. Like,
give me the 7,000 points. Yeah. Take the point and run.
She's like, what's the email address? What's the this and that? And she's like, does your wife have an account? Anyway, he leaves. And I was like, I turned off my camera because you didn't tell this woman that she was literally being recorded as she walked in. Like, so I just turned my camera off so she couldn't, like, you know, feel uncomfortable. And then he's like, anyways, like, I give her the email address. And I was like, you're at the Hilton, right? Or at some one Hilton branch as well. He's like, no. He's like, I'm at a Holiday Inn Express. I was like, oh, I don't even think I have an account. I swear I created an account so fast that girl probably couldn't even get back to reception. I flew on, like, I went straight online. I was like, this is the email you gave her.
Make.
2 minutes it took me. 2 minutes. So if anything, they're going to get feedback on, like, this was fantastic. Great experience for creating an account online. It took 2 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will take your points. I'll take your points.
Give me them points.
But yeah, cruise control worked on the way back. Small little crack in the windshield. Other than that
wasn't there or was there?
That I didn't notice, to be honest.
That you didn't notice. Okay.
But normally when, you know what it's like when you rent a car, it's very, certain things that are very small don't count, and, you know, you have to have a real, like, significant amount of damage for them to start poking around.
If you pull up and the bumper's missing, they'll have a conversation.
It was really like the smallest little. I wouldn't even.
They're
say
like,
a
hey,
centimeter.
this isn't the Altima we gave you, and you're like, no, it's not.
No, but they knew already. And then obviously, it was me that rented it, but he was dropping it off. But Enterprise have this, like, built-in spouse thing kind of thing, you know, so they just. And so I was like, oh my God, we don't have the same last name, blah, blah, blah. And then so I call. I'm like, I need to speak to Ashley. And he's like, Ashley's on lunch. Can I help you? I was like, sure. Here's the story. Jake's dropping it off. Here's his last name. You said you were going to waive the fee for roadside assistance because you gave me a lemon. Waive the fee. He'll be there in like an hour. He's like, okay.
And I don't want to have this conversation a second time.
Don't make me come back there. I will drive the 20 hours back there to yell at you. So,
and you better not be on lunch when I get there.
It's fine. Oh, everybody's on lunch all the time. Huh? That's just people do. Wake up, lunch.
When I had, what's it called? Back in October-ish, whatever. I had a need for a rental car when my car was in the shop, and I had an Enterprise car. I think did I tell you about the story? The terrible, like, seats of the Dodge Charger that
it was the Challenger,
gave me,
yeah,
Challenger or whatever it was that gave me a freaking it was a complete mess. But it was the same thing where, like, I don't, like, I get it. They are clearly understaffed. They are busting their ass. I mean, like, I can't. These guys make hourly. They're doing their jobs the best they can. Like, no one had an attitude. They were, you know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, they're trying to just shovel things through. They're, you know, the poor guy, when I called him, I'm like, you don't understand. I can't stay in this damn Dodge because it's going to kill me. And they're like, cool, we'll find something. And he was apologizing left, right, and center that the car hadn't been washed. Like, the interior was spotless, but, like, it had, like, mud splashes. And then I'm like, yeah, seriously, the least of I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
I'm going to videotape the outside of the car real quick, and then I'm going to take the paper from you, sign your iPad, and goodbye.
You see, like, Jake is hung up on this because he's certain we've had the Challenger and we've had the Charger.
Yeah.
We had to drive the Challenger as a rental. It's what we got when we drove from Michigan to Texas. It was the most uncomfortable experience ever. 20-something hours having to sleep in those stupid seats. They were like mock Recaro bucket seats that were like leather. You slid everywhere. Yeah. I couldn't even keep myself sitting like upright during the drive. I just kept sinking. And I was like, this is fucking annoying. Like, my back hurts. And I'm fairly certain that the Challenger was the one with the crappy seats. And that the Charger had like the material seats. And we're perfectly fine with those.
Yeah. In this way, I think the Charger is the 4-door, and that's what I had, but it had leather seats, and it was
oh no,
so terrible. Just they were too firm, I think. Like, no support on the sides. I don't know. I ended up with horrible. I ended up with a VW Passat, and it was perfectly fine.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm like, I know what I'm expecting out of this. But but yeah, the rental car is always a fun thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was
So
I'm pretty sure. I don't know why it's one of those things that we argue about like all the time, but whatever. I know I'm right. I'll find the contracts. Yeah. I'll find the contracts. But anyway, okay. So that's interesting. To circle back, we had a nice discussion about drinks. Also, I can't sneeze or snub, like I can't sneeze at or snub Pinterest. I'm like team Pinterest
yes.
in a world where it grew on me like over the course of 10, 15 years. I never went out of my way to be a Pinterest person,
Yeah, but
and
it
at the
always it
same
strikes me
time,
as a
mm,
like a fancy bookmarking like vision board type situation where you're like,
I feel
"Ooh,
like
I'm gonna
that's the
make like
original one, yeah.
yeah," and that's kind of what I've used it before, where I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna redo my kitchen, so let me like go around the internet and pin all these." And I get it; people are like, "Oh, you can buy stuff on here," but it's almost as if because
Was way before that.
I've tried to create like using Google Notes and other things, kind of like I have images for the half bath I'm doing and stockpiling like 6 or 7 options for sinks or
Mm-hmm,
6 or 7
mm-hmm.
options for decorations and things like that. It's easier to do it on Pinterest than it is to do in other things, I almost
Absolutely.
feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And don't
where
get
you
me
can kind of
wrong,
build
like
those collections of inspiration.
I absolutely I probably God, it's so long, I'm trying to think. I probably do have like an old account where I have like a cluster of bookmarks of just tattoos or something like that. Like I think
Yeah.
I probably went through the wave, but I still occasionally like using it. But the amount of ads now, everything is a click on this and like third party site and
Ew.
a lot
Yeah,
of
but
redirecting traffic. But I I kind of feel like I want to use it again for what's coming up on the menu for me. A nice place to
yeah,
organize stuff. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. So
that is not a bad idea.
I'm gonna have to try a new beverage. I like Campari and gin. I only like flavored gin,
Yeah.
and like any type of. Actually, no, I don't like gin. Sorry, I was confusing that with rum. So that was vermouth, gin, and Campari with cherry bitters, a cherry, and zest of something. You said orange zest, maybe.
Orange zest.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Oh, I'll paste it in the I'll paste
I'll
it
have
in
to
the
try
chat.
something. I'm not a connoisseur of anything, and I shouldn't
Neither am I. Like I said,
dismiss
I'm
it
just like
before I try it.
an
Maybe I'll like
occasional
it.
Manhattan or an old fashioned. Like that's what I've been doing, just because
Mm,
I'm like, you know what, this is kind of fun. A little bit different than the beer, and just have a small one while we chat here.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
I could have
So
had
there's still
an
2 clearly Canadians in the back of the fridge. I should just need to share them with my child, see what she thinks.
savor
You're
those.
like, don't share them with your child.
No, savor
They should be
those.
savor those two.
Yeah,
You just got to run over to the Home Depot. That's where they have them over at the Cost Plus World Market.
this is like ration level food that you
Ration
don't.
level.
Yeah, you don't mess around with this. Yeah, I'm excited that you tried it last week, and
Yeah.
shout out to Cassandra who knows what it's all about. Who
Yes.
can appreciate a good bottle of clearly Canadian, you know? I literally feel like I talk about it like it's some sort of like wine, you know?
Well, when I brought it up to Heather, she was like, "Wait, is that kind of like a what did she say?" She said, "Oh, like the wine cooler?" And I'm like, "No, it's sparkling water." She's like, "Why did I always think it was like a wine cooler alcoholic beverage?" I'm like, "No idea. I didn't even know it
Nope.
existed until recently." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
but no, it was
Yeah.
it is a carbonated water beverage.
Yeah,
So,
that's okay. Okay. Okie dokie. Apple
oh,
Magic or Magic Apple. Got it.
Magic Apple. I can't remember what it. Yeah, Magic Apple.
Well, I'm gonna go do what I usually do, which is feed the furry children, and
All
then
the furry children.
take them for a W. Hopefully they don't do what they did yesterday, which is tangle up on each other 7 times because I'm only
I
one
was about to
person.
ask, it's like, are you capable of walking them one person?
I legitimately
like,
don't even know how to explain it to you. It's like throwing a Super Ball in a shower. Like, that's how he's like. Like, like, he is all over the place, but at least it's directional. He's going straight, but he's still all over the place. You know?
When I'm dog sitting one of our friends' dogs with the 2 of them, I learned very quickly, I cannot take this corgi and that dog and Finn out at the same time. It is I same thing, actually. Super Ball in a shower, probably the best description I've ever heard for that.
Yeah.
Because this one, and I've tried, I have I tend to walk him on I got like a 10-foot leash.
Yes.
Kind of got him used to the idea of like, yeah, he'll walk next to me, but I've gotten a longer one to give him like some space to be able to do his sniffing routine.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't matter. Regular 6-foot leash on both of them, 10-foot. It's like they're like 2 Boy Scouts tying a knot. I'm like, what are you 2 doing? Did you just jump over him? What happened here?
Yeah, it's really bad. And the worst part is about all of this is that Sophie is so small that he will yeet her like somewhere. She will end up somewhere if there's no like intervening. It is.
Yeah.
And he's like a bulldozer, and he's like, "I don't get out of my way," and he will.
There's potato chips to be had.
Yeah, there's potato chips. Yeah, exactly. Move out of the way. I smell full-size candy bars. It's like, okay. Which there hasn't been anything except for 2 random green grapes, and which I think just fell out of
Were
trash.
they soaking margarita? Have you tried that before?
That,
that came up in our little game night. Our hostess had soaked what I think are the biggest grapes I've ever seen. They were about the size of golf balls in margarita. So she made a margarita with margarita mix and rum and everything, and then
golf ball sized grapes.
Yes, and soaked and froze golf ball sized grapes.
Oh, as ice cubes.
No, as just
okay.
individual things to eat.
Ooh,
and they were
Okay, anyway, yeah.
I didn't partake, but everybody else who had one was like, "This is the greatest thing, and where did you get grapes the size of golf balls?"
Oh my gosh. Hey, stop.
So, yes, dog, stop.
I feel bad for him. I really feel really bad for him. I know we got to wrap it up, but we will discuss what's going to happen on Thursday, because this one's got an appointment coming up. So we'll see what happens. But we will catch you on Thursday, everybody. Thank you for listening. Phil, always a pleasure.
No, thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Have a good night.
Toodaloo.
Toodles.
Thanks for listening to And Whose Fault Is That? Please consider subscribing on Spotify, Apple, Google, or wherever fine podcasts are found. Check out our live tapings on Twitch, Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you miss that, you can find us on YouTube. That's at Offit Podcast for both platforms. AWFIT Podcast on Twitch and YouTube.